Have you ever sat in a meeting, blurted something out in the heat of the moment, and immediately wished you could reel those words right back in? Oh, we have all been there. Welcome back, focused learners, to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating dynamic that is absolutely going to shift how you view true power. So often we're conditioned to believe that power is inherently loud. We tend to think it's the person taking up the most space, dominating the conversation, and making sure their voice just echoes off the walls. But what if we've had that entirely backwards? What if the absolute most powerful thing you can do is actually the quietest? We are unpacking some deeply counterintuitive research today that reveals exactly why true authority isn't about volume at all.
Okay, let's dive into this. Picture a scenario we've probably all witnessed at some point. You've got two people standing in the middle of a highly tense, really heated argument. One person is completely red in the face. They're shouting, they're losing control, desperately waving their hands around, basically trying to force their point across. It's chaotic, and honestly, they usually just end up looking a little foolish. Now, picture the other person. They're completely silent. Their face remains totally calm. Their breathing is steady and measured. So, in that moment of intense friction, who actually commands that room? Strangely enough, the energy inevitably shifts. Everyone naturally stops taking the loud person seriously, and instead, they start paying very close, careful attention to the silent one.
So why exactly does that shift happen? Well, it all comes down to a concept called quiet authority. It's a fundamental psychological truth where emotional control, rather than volume, is what generates genuine power and confidence. And the crazy thing is, this isn't just a cultural preference, it is deeply rooted in evolutionary biology. Back in our ancestral past, panic signaled immediate, life-threatening danger to the group. But calmness signaled that a leader actually had a survival plan. So when someone stays completely composed under modern pressure, our brains are literally hardwired to automatically perceive them as highly capable and entirely in control of the situation. They never even have to announce their power. Their emotional regulation does all the heavy lifting for them.
But let's flip that perspective for a second. Think about what happens when you react to every single insult, every passing opinion, or every minor criticism. You are unknowingly handing over the remote control to your own mind. It's like getting cut off in traffic by a total stranger, or reading a single aggressive comment on social media and just letting it completely ruin your entire afternoon. Why on earth do we let someone we don't even know dictate our heart rate for the next 3 hours? If one single sentence from a random passerby can completely derail your day, you really have to ask yourself, who is actually in control of your life? Are you or are they?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how psychologists have actually mapped out a fascinating correlation regarding how we broadcast our internal states to the people around us. It turns out human beings naturally and instinctively trust those who remain composed during a crisis. When we witness panic in someone, our brains immediately register a massive signal of uncertainty. We see that frantic energy and instinctively think, wow, they have absolutely no idea what they're doing. But when we witness calmness in that exact same stressful environment, the psychological signal flips entirely. It projects pure, unadulterated strength. We just naturally gravitate towards that composure because, on a subconscious level, it makes us feel safe.
And we see this play out constantly at the absolute highest levels of human performance. I mean, think about it. The most effective leaders in the world know for a fact that anger compromises their judgment, so they simply refuse to make critical decisions while emotionally compromised. Or take elite negotiators. The very best ones use silence as a heavily calculated tool. When faced with a low-ball offer or some aggressive threat, they don't react offensively. They just sit quietly, which often makes the other party so uncomfortable that they end up negotiating against themselves. And the strongest competitors, like elite athletes, they train relentlessly to tune out thousands of screaming fans. They succeed precisely because they refuse to let external distractions hijack their internal focus.
They operate with this level of precision because they understand one incredibly simple, unbreakable rule. It's a realization that anchors everything we're exploring today. The person who controls their emotions controls the situation. Notice how powerful that silence just felt? It naturally commands attention. And that is the exact type of authority you project when you simply hold your ground, take a breath, and absolutely refuse to give a frantic reaction.
Now, there is a crucial nuance here that we really need to unpack because a lot of people misinterpret this concept. Staying calm does not mean feeling nothing. We aren't aspiring to be emotionless robots here. You are absolutely still going to feel the anger, the sharp sting of an insult, or the deep frustration of a setback. That is completely human. Think of emotions like the weather. You can't stop a massive storm from rolling in,
but you absolutely get to decide whether you're going to stand out in the freezing rain or grab an umbrella. Emotional control just means you feel the storm, but you flat out refuse to let it make your decisions for you.
And this brilliantly illustrates a massive life-altering chasm between merely reacting and actually responding. You see, reacting is entirely instinctive. It's thoughtless, immediate, and honestly, a toddler can react. In fact, a lot of adult temper tantrums aren't much different from a 2-year-old's. Actually, scratch that, they're exactly the same. They just feature slightly bigger vocabulary words. Responding, on the other hand, is deliberate. It requires actively taking a beat to process the incoming information, weighing the consequences, and then choosing the wisest path forward. Very few people cultivate the rare calmness required to respond deliberately instead of just lashing out instinctively.
So why is that deliberate calmness so incredibly rare? Well, just look at the chaotic, hyper-connected world we live in right now. We are constantly trained to be instantaneous. Phone buzzes? Reply now. Someone criticizes you? Defend yourself immediately. Controversial headline? Get angry right this second. We are pushed, prodded, and conditioned to react to every single stimulus without a single second of thought, and man, it is an exhausting, completely draining way to live. It strips you of literally all your energy and leverage.
So the crucial point is, how do we actually break out of that exhausting cycle? It starts with a simple biological necessity, a 5-second pause. You see, a 5-second pause can genuinely prevent a 5-year regret. When a threat or an insult hits you, your emotional brain, the amygdala, fires off instantly. But it actually takes a few seconds for the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, to catch up and process what's actually happening. By forcing yourself to wait just 5 seconds, taking a deep breath and letting that initial surge of adrenaline wash over you, you literally give your rational brain the time it needs to take the steering wheel back.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because this is exactly why the quietest people in the room are often the most dangerous, in the best possible way. They aren't weak, they aren't shy, they are simply weaponizing that 5-second pause. While everyone else in the room is burning their energy being busy, loud, and reactive, the quiet person is sitting back, gathering crucial data. They are thinking, processing, and evaluating. By staying composed, they maintain ultimate control, not just over their own internal state, but over the entire environment around them. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to hold on to this truth. The next time life inevitably tries to provoke you, and let's be honest, it probably will before the day is even over, remember that your greatest strength isn't your volume. It is not the speed of your comeback. It is your self-control. The calmest person in the room is almost always the strongest one. So tomorrow, when the chaos inevitably finds you, will you give away your power by raising your voice, or will you command the room through the quiet, unbreakable authority of your own self-control?